Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. What is up, guys? So, Christmas Day. Today, while you're opening presents with your loved ones, enjoying family time, doing whatever you do, I'm going to talk about A Christmas Carol, a time when I got visited by three ghosts. The ghost of crack, the ghost of smack, and the ghost of alcohol. And they whisked me away and showed me my future, which was just under 4 years in prison. So today, that's what I'm going to talk about. So go away, get yourself a glass of Bailey's, a mince pie, sit back, relax, and allow me to regale you. Now, you all know my story. I used to be a drug addict, and along with addiction comes crime, because you need money all the time. I needed money all the time, so I was out shoplifting. And what I used to do to get money was I used to steal from office blocks. I'm not proud of that. When you get clean, you have to live with that. I have to live with the fact that I've hurt a lot of people along the way, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't change it. And it's took me a long time to get to a position where I can actually accept it and just try and move past it. But I'm not glorifying it. I'm deeply ashamed and embarrassed. But I can't, there's nothing I can do. So what I used to do is I used to go out shoplifting, and because I was getting caught all the time, I was a terrible shoplifter. Because it's obvious, isn't it? You walk in, skinny, gaunt, you look like a crackhead. I mean, I still get followed around the shops now. So I was getting caught all the time. And when you're an addict, you don't care. You don't care about the consequences. You just need money now. So you go in a shop, grab what you can. They'd have you on camera, or they'd catch you in the act. So I was constantly in and out of prison, and I just got fed up of it. So I thought, right, I need to change my direction. And I started walking around like office blocks, and looking for like fire doors left open or windows left open. And I would do that, but then I started getting caught doing that as well. I would never get caught on the job. It was always afterwards on camera, because like I say, you don't care about the consequences. It's desperate. You just need the money. So what I used to do is I had a shirt and a tie and a scruffy little briefcase what I nicked from an office, and I used to slick my hair back, put on a shirt and tie, and I was the world's scruffiest businessman, but I was a businessman. I looked the part, other than being really skinny and gaunt. I looked like I belonged there, and honestly, it was like an invisible suit. I was like, before, as soon as I walked in the building, they'd all come running up. Can I help you? What are you doing? Where are you? And there's nothing I could do. I used to pretend that I'd say, I need a toilet. Have you got a toilet? And then they'd just kick me out. So I couldn't really get past the front desk. But as soon as I put the shirt and tie on and got a briefcase to slick my head back, I could just walk straight past them. And that's what it is, stealing. If you're confident about what you're doing, then you get away with it way more than, like, a lot of people. Their actions get them caught. They'll be like walking along, and they know they don't belong there. Nobody else does what they do. So as soon as they see someone, they're like, oh, and then it's on top. Whereas what I used to do, I mastered the art of remaining calm. I spoke about it before. Like, when you're getting chased by the police, if you remain calm and weigh up your options, you've got a way better chance of escaping. So that's what I used to do. I used to put a shirt and tie on, and I'd walk past the desk. I would never make eye contact, because then as soon as you do, that's when they start talking to you. I would just walk straight past as I was in a hurry, and they wouldn't even look at me, because I had the shirt on. They wouldn't really clock my face. So yeah, I would walk through, and I'd walk up and down the aisles, and if there was like an empty office and it had a laptop in, I would just breeze in, grab the laptop, and then I'd be on my way. But I always get caught because of the cameras, and I didn't care. I just needed the money there and then. So I would end up with like I would be out doing it, and they wouldn't get me on the day, but I'd be wanted for like 5 or 6 commercial burglaries because they've had me on camera. And then when I did get caught, like if I got caught shoplifting or something, they would put me in the cells. And then whilst I'm in the cells, that's when they would hit me with all the charges. So I would probably be out for like 6 months. And then once they hit me, they'd hit me with all the charges, and then I'd be up for like 5 or 6 commercial burglaries. And that's exactly what happened. And the worst one that I got done for was Doncaster Royal Infirmary, because I was in there. See, it wasn't like it is now. You know, we didn't have 10 billion immigrants. You know, most of the place was empty. So you could just walk in. They didn't have any security. And I used to sleep in there when I was homeless. And one day I nicked this is how long ago it was. It was like a wooden cart, what they used to walk along, trolley. I used to walk with his trolley and give the meds out. And I stole that trolley. I don't know how I got away with it, but I was fucking running down Donny Town Centre with his fucking meds trolley. But I got away with it. But I left a fingerprint somewhere, and I ended up getting caught for it. And that was the worst charge, because I'd been messing with people's medication, you know. And like I said, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not proud of it. But that's what I used to do when I was an addict. You need money. So anyway, that was the worst charge. And I remember my solicitor, because it went to Crown Court, my solicitor said, he says, look, you're looking about 6 years here. And I was talking about it with one of the old boys in jail. And I was talking to him, saying, fucking hell, 6 years, man. Because it feels like forever, 6 years. I mean, you think of everything what happens just in 1 year, and then you've got to do that, and then you've got to do it another 6 times. It's like, Jesus, it feels like it's never going to end. So I couldn't imagine like spending 6 years in prison. And he said, well, what you should do is you should write a letter to the judge and apologise. And I was just like a silly young kid, you know. I'm not writing a fucking judge, you know what I mean? I'm not a little muppet. I'm not writing to no judge. And he says, listen, in the courtroom, you've got to be a politician. You know, if you want to be a tough guy, be a tough guy in the prison, but a politician in the courtroom. And what he meant is you have to conduct yourself properly, you know, because the whole point of going there is getting out as fast as you can. I mean, nobody wants to be in prison. So if you can do something to help your cause, then obviously you've got to do it, haven't you? So I thought, fuck it, swallow my pride. I'm going to write a letter to the judge, and I'm going to apologise. I'm going to... like, you know, I just told the truth, and I've always been pretty good with words. So I sat there and I penned this letter to the judge saying, I apologise, I was on drugs, you know, I've changed my life now. Moving forward, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know, you've always got good intentions whilst you're in prison, but when you get out, it just, you know, it all goes to the back of your mind and you forget about it. But I did have good intentions, you know, and I put it down on paper. I said, I apologise, I'm going to change my life. I really needed this chance, you know, and I gave it to my barrister, and he read it, and he said, fucking hell, this is a good letter. He says, this is probably the best thing we've got to go on, you know, in your favour. Because I always admit it, you know, if they catch me, I'm like, I'm on camera, I'm like, yeah, that's me, you know, and I never complain, I never moan, you know, if whatever punishment they give me, it's always been fair or firm, you know. I just get on with my time, I sit in my cell, I do my number, and I get out. But anyway, yeah, I've given my barrister this letter, and he said I'm going to give it to the judge and whatever. So when I went up into the court, the judge came out and he says, I've read your letter, Mr. Paddy. He says, got to admit, not these exact words, but what he said was something along the lines of, yeah, it's a really good letter. I agree with everything you say except one thing. He says, you say in the letter that you've never had a chance before, but we can see by this court that you've had plenty of chances because I had a terrible criminal record. But he came out and he said, well, what I'm going to do is, and this is actually what he said, I'm going to give you the rope to hang yourself with. You know, we're going to give you a drug treatment testing order, and we're going to give you a chance, you know, and it's up to you then. And I remember thinking, fucking get in, you know, buzzing. I did have the best intentions, you know. He said, right, you're going to get out like I think it was like a 2-year, they used to call it a DTTO, drug treatment testing order. And what that is every time, when you get out for 2 years, you're on probation, you have to go in every week, give urine samples and so long as you keep clean, so long as you keep your appointments, then you stay out of jail, and it gives you a chance to to better yourself, to change your life. So he said, yeah, we're going to give you the rope to hang yourself with. But I wasn't ready. You know, I was still early on in my addiction. I just wasn't ready to get clean, because that's the thing with prison. Like, you get clean while you're in there, but it's forced upon you. You know, you've got no choice. They just stick you in a cell, and you've got to get clean. Whereas with addiction, especially heroin addiction, you have to be ready. It has to come from you. You know, you have to hit that point where you can't do it anymore. You know, I'm not doing this anymore. I've had enough. I'm going to change my life, and I'm going to do whatever necessary, whatever pain I've got to go through. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to change my life. It has to come from you. And I wasn't ready. So, you know, I got out, and I had the best intentions, but then I missed an appointment, started using again, and just fucked it all up. And within like 3 months, you know, I was recalled back in prison, and I ended up, it wasn't, see, back when I was doing time, there was parole sentences, and I think it was 4 year, and if you got 4 year and above, you had to do 2/3 of your sentence. But if you got under 4 years, and I think I got 3 years, 9 months or something like that, you only had to do half your sentence. So that's what I got. I got like 3 year, 9 months. Like I said, I can't remember exactly. I've been to jail so many times. It all just merges into one, you know. I just can't remember how many times I've been. No idea. I'm terrible with names as well. People always say, oh, do you know him? Do you know him? I'm like, fuck, no idea. And then I'll see the face. I'm like, oh, I know him. Just terrible with names. But yeah, I went back and got 3 year, 9 months, and I only had to do half. And I remember I went to Doncatraz. I believe that was a sentence where they lost my paperwork, so I spent ages in Doncatraz, and they had me down as judge's remand. Well, I wasn't remand, I'd been sentenced. So I was in there for a while, over a year, and then they moved me to Ramby, and by this point I was just fed up with jail, you know. I just couldn't be arsed with it anymore, you know, the same old conversations, the same old fucking meal, the same routine, and you know, you have to get used to it, but it gets to a point where you're just fed up with it, and I just used to crave just a decent conversation that wasn't about twacking cars or, you know, something like that, and I was just fed up. And when I got to Ramby, I just lost my head a little bit. I ended up on basic, I ended up acting up, and I ended up getting kicked out of Ramby, and they took me double cuffed in a black cab. They just ghosted me. They said they just called me back to my cell, and I was already on basic, and they said, right, you go in, pack your stuff, and you go into Hull. And I've been to Hull before, and it was really shit the first time I went. So I thought, right, they're stitching me up here because I've been a cunt. You know, I was like giving all the screws abuse. You know, I was very immature, and the screws would walk by, yeah, you fucking slag, and you're just acting the fool, really. And I ended up getting ghosted, sent me to Hull. But when I got there, like I said, it took me in a black cab, and I think they thought they were stitching me up. But when I got to Hull, they said the screws in Hull, as soon as the Ramby screws had left, they said, I said, we don't care what you've done in there. If you're all right here, you know, we'll treat you all right back. And I was like, oh, fucking hell, buzzing, you know, bang on. They give me a little reception pack where you get a little pack of tobacco, and took me off basic, put me on standard regime. And this time when I went in Hull, it was totally different. It'd all been refurbished, and it was strange. It was like very weird atmosphere, you know. All the inmates seemed very subdued and mundane, you know. It was very quiet. And the first time I went, it was crazy. I ended up, my cell got firebombed and everything. But then this time, it was totally different. It was really quiet, and they'd had all the windows done, and yeah, it'd been totally refurbished. But yeah, I ended up in Hull, and then I got out from Hull, and I'd saved up loads of money whilst I was in prison, because I had loads of jobs, you know. I was outside work, so I was on the server, and you end up getting paid like 15 quid a week, but I was also getting money sent in. like 20 quid a week. So over the years, it really built up, and so I had loads of money when I got out. I can't remember how much it was, but it was thousands of pounds, and I remember the screws counting it out. You know, there was about 10 of us getting out, and the screws are counting the money out like 100, 200, 1,000, 2,000. And I'm sat there thinking, shut up, you dick. I'm going to get robbed. I'm fixing to get robbed here. But yeah, anyway, that's the video for today. So yeah, that's when I got just under 4 years for loads of commercial burglaries. And yeah, I'm not boasting about it, you know, but it was part of my life. It happened. Yeah, so Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you have a good day. If you like this video, press the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Nerf the pop.